going to stick this right here.
I think that's a great idea.
Coach, some opening thoughts here about BC coming off the bye.
Well, it was a good week for us, the bye. We got a great combination of rest and recovery and work in. We were able to get a little bit of a jump start on Boston College, and excited about this game. Going up there, it's always fun to play at that place. It's a great environment, really cool stadium, and playing, you know, we don't look at records. We look at the team and what we see on tape, and we see a good football team. They're physical. They're hard-nosed. They play hard. They're very well coached by Coach O'Brien and that staff, and it'll be another hell of a challenge for us on the road. So I think our guys are excited about the challenge. You know, it's something that, you know, one of our goals is to, you know, try to, you know, win on the road, which we have been okay at but not good enough at. So it's just our next challenge.
During the bye week, guys, you go back and look at the first 6 games. What are your main takeaways from what the team has done so far?
Well, we've made constant improvement every week in one area or another. We just have to continue to work to put it together, you know, on a Saturday. And just right now, you know, one of my main concerns is, you know, our red zone offense and defense, scoring touchdowns. I mean, we're good percentage-wise in terms of scoring, but scoring touchdowns. So, you know, we worked on that. We worked on our third down stuff. You always got to improve in those possession downs. We did a lot of fundamental individual work that sometimes you have to move through rather quickly in a game week so that you can get into the preparation stuff. But it was just a really positive week for us. We were able to go back and look at film and to see if we were tendencied up. You know, one of the things you want to make sure you're doing offensively and defensively is not getting tendencied where another team can kind of zero in on what you're doing in particular situations or out of particular looks on defense or particular formations on offense. So we took a hard look at that. Well, he's someone we can count on. He's got good hands. He's a willing blocker. He's really smart. As you've seen, we put him in a lot of different spots, move him around, put him in motion, try to get good matchups for him. And then you have to decide how an opponent's going to treat him. Are they going to treat him as a wideout? Are they going to treat him as a tight end? Or are they just not going to worry about it? You know, and we've seen all three of those things. And so we're always trying to put our players in the best position to have a favorable matchup, to do what they do best. And Juice is just one of those guys. It's you can kind of play him like a Where's Waldo. You know, you can put him all over the place and make them decide how they want to treat him.
Coach, going back to the bye week, just how do you think the players' energy was? Obviously, with no game, but how do you think the practice from the players' perspective went last weekend, beginning of this week?
It's been good. Their energy, you know, our guys practice hard all the time. They practice well. You know, we took the pads off a little bit last week. We spread our practices out. I think that helped them recover and come out to practice with really great focus and really great energy. And then this morning was the same thing. You know, they're excited to play again. They like to play football on Saturdays, but they realize that, you know, they have to earn the right to go out and play with confidence by the way they prepare, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so they take our practices very seriously and they bring great energy. And that's how you get better. You know, when you have players that have that attitude, that embrace that, that's how you get better. We don't really think about that. It's just the next opponent. It's Boston College. We respect them as a football team. Yeah, we recognize that they're a Power 4 opponent, but for us, it's about playing really good football, doing all we can to prepare all week, and going to a tough environment and doing all we can to try to get a win.
What have you made of them? I think they came into the season with some expectations, and obviously the record doesn't show it, but yeah, I think they still obviously have talent.
Oh yeah, I mean, you turn on the film, you see talent everywhere. You know, I mean, they've got a very good back. They've got a big physical offensive line. You know, they've always had good tight ends. Their receivers are long guys who catch the ball well. Their defensive front is very good. Their linebackers are very, very smart, intelligent, instinctive players. They've got athleticism all over their secondary. Their kicker hasn't missed a kick. You know, their punters are good. So it's just a great challenge for us. And like I said, we look at the film, and that's how we decide who our opponent is and how we need to prepare to give ourselves a chance to win.
Do you know Bill O'Brien?
Yeah, I do. In the NFL, yeah, sure, yeah.
Is there something NFL coaches bring that's different to the college
Well, there's a huge difference between coaching in the pros and coaching in college, and that's that in college you compete year-round against your foe, you know, because you're you're on the recruiting trail, and now you're in the portal, you know, window. In the pros, you compete against your opponent 17 weekends, and then through the playoffs, and the rest of the years you collaborate and you're friends, and you might go on vacation together, because you're not trying to beat each other in the draft, because there is no beating each other in the draft. I mean, your pick is what your pick is, and you make your decisions. Free agency comes down to money, so that's, you know, that's not the coaches. So to me, that's one of the bigger differences. Other than that, it's just football. So I always felt like I had really good relationships with my NFL compatriots rather than, you know, in college, because there was just, you know, you try to beat each other on Sundays, but the rest of the year, you know, you pulled for each other.
What's been the biggest change in Joe as the season has gone on? Has he added certain elements to his repertoire, his game?
Maybe his willingness to just, if something's not there downfield and there's a window to run, to take off and go. You know, he's made some plays lately with his legs, which is encouraging for us because it just adds another dimension to our offense.
You've talked about the deep balls and needing to get better at that. Is he just, are you guys practicing it more? Is he just getting a little bit more accurate with his throws, or, you know, things coming together with chemistry? All
of those. We're practicing it more. We always practice it, but we put a little added emphasis at certain times during the week on that, and he has with the players on his own. It's the timing, you know, of the repetition that, you know, comes with repping it in practice, and then it's just the chemistry amongst him and the receivers. You know, the more you do it together at a high level in a competitive environment and you have success, the more you learn about each other, and that builds trust.
Where's your run game stand right now? Losing Mel is obviously a huge thing, but have you seen other guys step up and pick up here and there, or are you just leaning more heavily on Cam?
No, I mean, you know, Victor continues to do a good job. He's always done a good job since he's been here, and not only as a runner, but as a pass catcher. You've seen us use Oliver. Ollie gives us a dimension of just, you know, he's a powerful, explosive inside runner who gets to the open field and tries to punish tacklers, and then you've seen MJ play a little bit. So, you know, we're lucky that we have depth in the running back room, and multiple guys can go in there and get it done for us.
Here in the back. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
It's simple for us to cover the team, 12-game season, 6 games in, halfway point. Do you have a halfway point report card on your team? Do you do that?
No, I don't. We have a daily report card on our team. How did we do today? How have we done so far today? But no, we don't do anything like that, because it doesn't really matter, you know. It is what it is, and it doesn't matter if the next day you're not as good as you were the last day. So we're always just trying to get better every day.
Are there places you're further ahead now than you thought you might have been at this point in the season?
No, I mean, I just want us to continue to make progress, you know, every single day. Like, I don't think long-term, you know. I mean, you have a long-term plan, but you have short-term goals to get to that, you know, long-term objective. And so that's how we think, you know. Like I've said many, many times, when I put my hand right here, this is where we stop. We go as hard as we can to that point, reevaluate, and then we keep going. And I think in this business, that's the best way to think, especially during a season. You know, off season may be a little bit different, but during a season, it's about the game right in front of you, which means it's about the practice right in front of you, which means it's the meeting right in front of you, and you've got to be great at all of those things in order to grow successfully.
From that perspective, was the bye week beneficial to you? Did you see a little bit of incremental growth
in the bye week?
Yeah.
I saw us get a chance to recover. I saw us have a chance to get a little extra work on BC. I saw a chance for our guys to reset a little bit and rest. And I saw them come out to the 3 practices we had with great energy, you know, and great focus and intention, and that's what we wanted. But we didn't zero in on one specific area during the bye week. You know, the goal at this point was to have really energetic, high-tempo practices and get our guys, you know, as healthy, as fresh, as recovered as we could.
There's so many players that enter the transfer portal. I'm curious how you find guys. The especially
Yeah.
defensive linebacker. Just how do you, I guess,
It's a collaboration of all of us. You know, right now it's our personnel department getting a head start on guys who could potentially go in the portal, who have gone in the portal. You know, at any level of football, whether it's a lower level or it's a group of 5 or it's Power 4, you know, junior college. It's just finding guys that maybe are overlooked, that are looking for an opportunity to level up, or maybe an opportunity to get more play time. And they're brought to the table, and we evaluate them as a staff. And you have to work rather quickly in the portal, as you guys know, because it just happens so fast. And I think we have parameters that, well, I don't think, we have position parameters and character traits that we lean heavily on, that we don't really stray from. And we go try to find guys that fit the profile of the type of player and person that we want. And then we attack with aggression. And certainly, this day and age, if you don't have money, it doesn't matter. You have to have money because they're all getting paid. And fortunately, there's been people here at UConn over the last couple of years that have made a difference for us and will continue to do so, you know. And then we have to go out during the season and we have to prove our worth by winning games, which over the last 3.5 years we've been able to do. So, you know, you just try to find the hidden gem, you know, or you find somebody that is looking for an opportunity to be coached by a head coach that, you know, spent 28 years in the NFL and coached 56 Hall of Famers and knows what greatness looks like. So that's what you do.
how much does the scheme have to do with it? It seems like they're excited to play, and it's something they have to learn, but once they get into it, it works well for them.
I think our offensive scheme is really attractive to people because it's a pro-style scheme. We use words, you know, we teach formations and shifts and motions, and we teach conceptually. And so if you're looking to be a great player, you want to come and play in a system like this. You're going to get great coaching, and you're going to get NFL level coaching, and you're going to get NFL level practices and NFL level meetings and NFL level standards, and you're going to level up. And by the time it's time for you to move on to the next level, you're going to be prepared. You're going to understand route concepts. You're going to understand the intricacies of your position, how to run the ball, where to run the ball, not just running the ball. You know, you'll become a master at the outside zone, you know, if you're a running back, a lineman, or a tight end. So those things are really important, you know. It's not just throwing the ball around. It's really detailed stuff, and it works for us, as you've seen. You know, I think we've proven up to this point that the way we do things works. So I don't think it's scheme on defense, and defense is different, man. Defense is, you know, it's effort, it's athleticism, it's speed, it's violence, it's those types of things. But offensively, the things that we do, I don't know why you wouldn't want to play in this system if you have a desire to go play at the next level. NFL level coaching, NFL level structure, and an NFL system.
How much improvement has the defense made since day one here? And are there like 3 or 4 things that they've really kind of ticked off?
Day one this year, or day one of Matt being here?
Day one this year.
They've improved, but there's still a lot of room for improvement, You know, we're not where we want to be yet, but the last couple of weeks we've made strides.
Where have you? I mean, why have you taken steps forward defensively?
Well, we brought in a whole lot of new players, and you know, sometimes it takes guys a little bit of time to mesh in this system that a lot of them are maybe not familiar with, but we have great faith in, and I think that's starting to happen. You know, with certainty comes confidence. With confidence comes speed. With playing with speed comes making plays, and so I think you're starting to see that happen.
Do you enjoy that whole puzzle of piecing together a group? I mean, again, you have 2 starters returning, or is it a little frustrating but rewarding afterwards?
It's not new to me. In the NFL, that's what you do. You know, the draft is recruiting, and free agency is the portal. So it's something that I've done forever. I'm familiar with that. You know, I'm used to dealing with contracts and money. I'm used to dealing with the uncertainty of the offseason, if a guy's going to be on your team or not going to be on your team. You know, it is what it is. You know, to me, I enjoy it because it's what I've always done. It's just part of my DNA. You know, I don't really know anything different. I think that's given us a real advantage here. The fact that I was successful in the NFL, and I was around Bill Walsh, and I was around Bobby Beathard, and I was around Mike Holmgren, and I was around Jim Finks, you know, guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and I was around Dick Vermeil and Carl Peterson, and I got to see how they set up a franchise. You know, this is a franchise now with the portal and NIL, and it's very much like an NFL franchise. So I'm pretty well versed in doing what we're doing at this time in college football.
Obviously, it's 11 guys on defense all doing their jobs, but have there been a couple guys who just kind of have grabbed this defense by the, cuff and pulled them along?
There's been 11, well, there's been more than 11 because we play a lot more than 11. It's been really just a commitment by all of them that has to continue to being better in everything we do, to paying more attention to detail, to trusting each other because of the work that they see each other do out on the field and during practice and then in the games, and a better understanding of how they fit in the scheme. But it's a concerted effort, it's a collaborative effort by the coaches and the players to just say, hey, we're going to get it right, and we're going to get it right now, So, but it's always a challenge because, the other teams are doing the exact same thing. They're making those concerted efforts. So you've just got to work longer, harder, more efficiently to get it done. And you have to have an unusual and uncommon commitment, and I feel like we have that.
Coach, can you just speak to Cam Edwards has put together a season at running back that we haven't really had here in a while. Can you just speak to his success so far this season and just what you expect from him moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, he's an easy guy to talk about, and we get to talk about him a lot, and deservedly so. He's just a tough person. He's a tough dude. He really cares, and he works hard at it. And he's dependable. And even when he gets beat up, there's no quit in him. There's no give up. He just keeps going. And I think that, he's kind of the identity of our team, that toughness, that blue-collar attitude. And I think I know every player on this team really respects him, and we draw energy from him when we see him out there running the football the way he does and catching the way he does. And then, we come in here, we watch film, and people don't really notice it when they're watching the game with their naked eye, but the way he protects, in the pass game. I mean, those are all just signs of his toughness and his commitment to this team. And so to see him, continuing to play at a high level, that's important. And to watch him, the guy's beat up. You carry the ball as much as he carries it, you get beat up. Having a few days off last week to rest his body, he came back. He looked like, it was the first day of training camp again today. And I love that, And to me, that's just a tough, hard-ass mindset of Cam Edwards, which I think any coach would relish coaching a guy like that. We good? Okay. Hey, thanks, everybody. Joe, good to see you.
I was early, but somehow late.
You're right.